She's the University of Arizona researcher making national news for her study on marijuana and its impact on veterans with PTSD.
As the sun rises in Phoenix, a battle is heating up at the University of Arizona. June 27, 2014, nearly 4 months after the revolutionary PTSD and marijuana study was approved.
HR notified me just a little before 5 o'clock on a Friday.
The University of Arizona has fired Dr. Sue Sisley.
I was stunned because they stripped me of all of my work.
Her work, studying medical marijuana.
It's so disheartening for all these veterans who stood shoulder to shoulder with me.
Her termination became national news.
Veterans are demanding that Sue Sisley be allowed to continue her work.
First of its kind pot study has now hit a major snag.
A snag because without a job, Sisley's historic study is without a home.
Let me ask about what's going on right now.
I spoke to her soon after her dismissal. What do you think's happening?
I think Arizona legislature is dominated by several very extreme thinkers who are opposed to this type of research. Even though this is an FDA-approved study, it's a randomized control trial, the most rigorous science we can conduct in the U.S.
I can say that the University of Arizona is not bowing to political pressure either on research or any employee.
Chris Sigurdson is the spokesman for the University of Arizona. He insists Dr. Sisley's termination had nothing to do with marijuana research.
What did you think when you heard that news?
Anger.
Sean Kernan is angry because he knows what's at stake. The lives of thousands of veterans every year.
How important are those scientific studies to you?
It makes me speechless, which is something that doesn't happen a lot. That as a society, as a university, as Arizona is, as a country that says we love our vets, we have 22 veterans killing themselves a day.
Sean is particularly certain marijuana could have saved some of those lives, because in some ways, it has already saved him. After his drug overdose in 2011, he turned to cannabis as his last resort. And now, he vaporizes with it every day.
That's it.
The symptoms of PTSD, the anger, the irritability, when you take this, how does it make you feel? How does it address those symptoms?
It allows your brain to get back into a more healthy, normal pattern of behavior versus just spiraling worse and worse out of control.
Here's how scientists think cannabis can work. People with PTSD have an imbalance in their brain. Too many receptors associated with intense emotions like fear and anxiety, and not enough of a chemical that binds to these anxiety receptors to keep them calm and in check. Marijuana is filled with a chemical that can bind to these receptors and help restore balance to the PTSD brain. A balance that is helping Sean Kernan turn his life around.
We really came to the conclusion that it was really the medicine for him.
It seems very effective.
It does seem very effective.
But for Sean, it's trial and error. How much to use, when to use, or even the best strains. And how will it affect him long term? That's why the studies are needed.
How much does it concern you that there's not a lot of science behind this, that it hasn't really been studied, at least not in this country?
If he wasn't doing this, the fear is he wouldn't be here. So if there are some side effects that we're going to have to deal with down the road that haven't been studied yet, I figure we'll take that when it comes, but for now the children and I have my husband and father with us.
I want to get two things. One is like when I had that morning anxiety that I could...
Sean is lucky. Cannabis is a legal treatment for PTSD in California.
I would recommend like a bubble push for you during the day so you can actually still do things and function.
And he has enough money to buy his marijuana. It's not covered by insurance. But so many other veterans simply don't have that option. And the Veterans Administration hospitals cannot prescribe medical marijuana because it is illegal, federally, a Schedule I controlled substance. None of that is likely to change until research like Sisley's proves that cannabis is an effective, tested, mainstream medication. So to help other veterans, Sean is out front.
The administrative appeal for Dr. Sue Sisley. and then a letter from a veteran.
Protesting and fighting to get the PTSD study back on track.
I am going to find a home for this work, whether it's at the U of A or not. I feel such a deep sense of obligation to these veterans and to making this research happen.
So Sue Sisley is about to take a big gamble.
This is amazing.
The chances when we come back.